Yep.
Yep.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is episode 4 of the Dead End Boys. We're 4 episodes in, dude.
We're getting it going.
We're getting it going. And we got some good stuff to talk about this week.
A lot. Tag week.
Danny Dimes week.
Oh, meh.
But yeah, there's a lot of big name talk this week, I'd say, going from Daniel Jones to Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, even the Cardinals, and releasing Rodney Hudson and potential DeAndre Hopkins trade. There's a lot going on this week.
Anderson gone.
Chosen Anderson.
Oh, Chosen Anderson. My fault.
But I think just like last week, before we jump into it, I want to just throw out them social media plugs again.
Sir.
We have the Twitter. Give us a follow on Twitter. It's at the Dead End Boys with a Z. Have currently not launched Twitter just yet. It's out there, but haven't put up much to
content.
It just yet. At YouTube, the Dead End Boys with an S. You could probably look up the Dead End Boys with a Z and it'll probably pop up. We got 50 plus subs, which, hey,
we appreciate
we're doing all right there. And then on Twitch, that's where we'll do like video game related content, FIFA, Madden, potentially MLB, maybe Call of Duty, whatever's going on. That's where we'll do.
Whatever the people are feeling, want to see.
For real. And that's at the Dead End Boys with a Z.
Maybe some PGA Tour.
Could be. PGA Tour does come out soon, like the EA one,
yeah.
And that's supposedly going to be that's the one people are looking for because like the 2K one, everyone hates. Yeah. Everyone absolutely hates.
But the EA used to make the Tiger Woods game, so the expectations are going to be high. We're going to definitely try it out. Whether we try it out on Twitch, quite possibly.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be trying that out. And then obviously on Apple Podcasts, the Dead End Boys. Have to still set up Spotify. It's on me. I was busy with work this week, so I didn't get a chance to look into Spotify. But again, this is where, if you're listening, obviously it's going to be on Apple Podcasts. But throw that out there, the Dead End Boys. But that's my little short and sweet social media rant, which a lot quicker than last week. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we got some good stuff this week in the NFL.
We're just gonna jump right into.
Yeah, let's get your
number one.
Let's get your thoughts about Dimes because 4 years, 160, 82 guaranteed.
Wild. Personally, I thought anything over 38 a year was just a bad deal off the bat, and essentially, you curb the contract annually and you divide it and you go it's $40 million a year. The way they laid the contract out, I think, isn't bad.
Not for the first 2 years, which really, like with the 82 guaranteed, you're kind of in those first 2 years you're kind of covered. Like it gets really bad at the very end, but the first 2 years is all you're locked into.
But you look at the first year, I'm not mad about.
19 against the cap. That's perfect to me.
19 against the cap. You go $9 million signing, 9.5 base salary. You have the 500 workout clause. That's not bad for first year. You obviously don't have an out going in the year 2, which is another 500 workout, another $9 million signing, and then 35.5. That's a big number. If he can take a step, because let's be honest, like his rushing stats and everything that happened, you look at it and you go, if you make it all together, he was a decent quarterback. But you look at just his passing stats as a quarterback, and you go, he left something to be desired. 15 touchdowns, 5 picks.
But it's kind of like with Jalen Hurts, though. Rushing stats got to be counted into a quarterback. It's not just base passing. It's you add the rushing into it all. And
Absolutely.
And if you do add the rushing into it, then his year was good.
Yeah.
What do you have, like 8 rushing touchdowns? So that brings him up to like 23 or so.
800 or so yards.
How many fumbles lost? Probably not.
I think he had 7 turnovers overall and 5 picks, so I think it was only 2 fumbles lost.
So, I mean, it's the first year, it's good. The second year, it kind of makes it balances out the first year, kind of.
Yeah. 100%.
But after that, year 3,
the third year is $9 million signing again, $500,000 workout, and then 30 flat.
But that if say he stays for that, and if he doesn't tank and get cut,
they have to get traded.
That's not even that bad.
No.
Because just think about how quarterbacks are getting paid now.
The
What's it going to be in 3 years?
On the way up.
So
Jalen Hurts still has to get paid, and he's going to be probably the highest paid quarterback.
And the Eagles won't even have to pay him until next offseason.
Yeah, exactly.
Truly. So,
but next offseason, they're going to back up a Brinks truck.
Yeah.
And
they're just
as long as he performs just as well as he did this year, next year.
They're just going to hand him a blank check and just say, whatever you want. You write that number in. Doesn't matter how big it is. Just put it in there.
The NFL doesn't have a max contract.
Look at Pat Mahomes. He had the 10-year, $500 million. So no, they don't. Which is
I think
shocking.
It's soon to be that they're gonna create a quarterback max, and they're gonna create, like a max,
a scale,
an overall max,
a scale
it's
for everything,
like a scale max. You got to pay wide receivers. You got to pay wide receivers
because
running backs criminally underpaid. And
I don't think quarterbacks. It almost, and like I'm gonna throw a video game analogy in here. In NBA 2K, like the later years, like people are getting like $70 million, $80 million a year. Like that's nuts.
Ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous.
Like I get these guys are like, especially football. They're putting like their well-being on the line and stuff. But $100 million, like if a quarterback is touching that stratosphere like a year, which, let's be real, we're getting up in the 60s. How long is it going to be until a quarterback is going to be up into 70s and 80s? In 5 years, quarterbacks can maybe be getting 80 a year. That's insanity.
They're going to have to do something about that because that's not going to be sustainable for NFL franchises.
And the cap for quarterbacks is what's ever going to be the highest quarterback at that time because I don't think you can't really backtrack a deal like that. It's like baseball though. Like baseball is gonna eventually get a salary cap. Baseball doesn't have a salary cap, and you have teams just like the San Diego Padres dumping money. It's just like quarterbacks though. Like the NFL is gonna have to do something, and that's gonna be interesting to see because if they do implement something like that, I think it's gonna be a lot beneficial to some teams.
Yeah.
You don't have to like. You're still gonna be investing a lot of money into a quarterback, but why? It wouldn't necessarily handicap a team. Like sometimes you see the big contracts. Oh, well, you just dumped all this money into your quarterback. You can't put a team around him now because you got no money.
Yeah.
And I think as the years go on, if they do something like that, obviously the cap rises and stuff. It'll help the lower end teams, be able to
compete.
Pretty much compete and get into the mix with a quarterback, or even just put a good team around an average quarterback.
Absolutely. But then you look after that $30 million with the 9 signing bonus and the $500K workout bonus. They have the potential out.
Yeah,
they're able to let him go at 20. Going into his 29-year-old season, and cool. But if they choose to keep him, it's a $46 million base with the $9 million signing, a $1 million signing bonus. $1 million roster bonus, and then the $500K workout again.
Does that say what his cap hit is?
56.5 that year. That's where it skyrockets.
What's it in year 2 and 3?
Year 2 it's 45. Year 3 it's 39.
Year 3 is actually kind of a good year. Year 2 like balances out year 1, but year 3 is actually surprisingly good.
Personally, I'm looking at this. Unless he wins an MVP,
it's not a good deal.
You can't bring him back year 4. You got to cut it at 3, and you got to let the dead cap be $9 million and you eat that.
But what if they're like a perennial playoff team, 10-win, 11-win team, makes a little noise in the playoffs, and he's just enough to get them there each year. Like, then what?
They might try to restructure.
That, yeah.
If he's just enough to get them where they need to be, they're going to try to restructure.
Well, they definitely set themselves up for year 3 and year 4 to be able to mess around with the restructure of his contract, because it's kind of seems like year 1 and 2 are, obviously with the guarantee though too, like year 1 and 2 is the worst of it, and you can figure it out year 3, 4. What's year 4's cap hit?
That is year 4. Is the max?
Oh, okay.
Is that fucking 56 and a half?
Gotcha. It's gonna be interesting because we were talking earlier. I mean, Barkley has to
the non-exclusive tag is a decent move. It and it shows with Lamar already. Teams are going to be unwilling to even talk because they're like, what are we getting out of this?
Well, yeah, you saw,
we're going to sign you.
Saw the teams that are already out of the mix. Like that. I'm pretty sure Twitter was just bored, and they did the whole Lamar to Washington thing just because they were bored. But they're already out of it. The Raiders are out of it. Teams like that, they're out of it. So,
but you look at it and you're like, oh, I'm going to talk to this guy. We're going to have fruitful talks. We're going to even agree on a deal. And the Ravens in Lamar's situation and the Giants in Daniel Jones' situation
can just match it.
I mean, with Saquon Barkley's situation, are just going to go, we'll take it.
Yeah.
But I think with the Giants, I think less with Lamar as much in a sense. But I think the Giants are saying, hey, Saquon, go get what you think we're going to give you somewhere else. And betting, no team's going to give you that.
Mm-hmm.
No team's going to give you the 16, the Christian McCaffrey money.
Yeah.
No team's going to give you that.
Which is kind of funny because McCaffrey, too, man, he's not... Yeah. He gets hurt and misses time,
but
usually.
McCaffrey takes the most hits possibly in the NFL. Well, it did in Carolina. Not as much in San Fran.
He didn't have to.
But, obviously he didn't have to. But you're looking at it like the Giants are like, we're so far apart with Saquon. We give you the non-exclusive tag. Go talk to other teams. See what they'll give you. And they're trying to bring them back down to earth, in my opinion, a little bit. Think, oh, you want that money? Go to ask every other NFL team, and they're not going to give you that either. So, come on, man. Start to have some reality. Be humble a little bit with what your expectations are. We understand what you are capable of and what you have been giving us are two different numbers.
He's got to do it again.
But
he's got to perform again.
You said it when it started. He had the 30 carries in the one game, and then what did he do after that? He fell off. He wasn't performing like he was in the first half of the season. Now you're looking at it, is that knee capable of going through a full 17-game season?
Even like his ankle, dude. He's had ankle problems dating back before the ACL. So
absolutely.
It's interesting because they have Saquon on top of that, and then guys like Dexter Lawrence and free agents. It's gonna limit them. Like year 1, I think they're okay, but after that, they're gonna have they already did it the previous offseason where they had to cut guys like James Bradbury just to be able to sign their first round picks. You know, it's
and you had to take that dead cap.
And take the dead cap.
Our dead cap was higher than the Eagles paid James Bradbury.
I believe it.
It was 12.5, and you guys paid him 10.
Yeah.
And I think paying him 10 was ridiculous in my opinion. I was going no more than 8 for him, but he did have a good season.
Yeah, I thought 10 was too much too, but it was only 1 year.
Yeah.
It's a shame, man. We're gonna need cornerback help. But
they knew what they were buying.
Yeah, they went for it, and obviously they didn't win it, but
they were
got
doing
there.
the one and done thing.
And they got to the bowl.
They got to the bowl.
They didn't win it, but they got there.
They got there.
It worked.
And they competed.
Let's be real.
Solidly.
Let's be real.
So
they had the chance to win.
You can't really complain with what James Bradbury gave you in production.
No.
Because he was a top 10 corner, I think, by PFF's ratings.
Yeah, and he had some moments where you just shook your head, got beat.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, he was as good as you could get. Like, it's been a long time since I've had an Eagles team have two good cornerbacks like that.
I think he was what everyone knew he was. He's his own corner.
And he fit perfect in our system.
He's not fast enough or strong enough. But as a number 2, he could really
a
top
succeed.
5 number 2 in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's the Giants. Like, that's exactly though. Like, the Giants are gonna find themselves where they're gonna have to give up prime players like that if with the high cap hit and stuff.
I think personally for the Giants, Sexy Dexy needs to come back. He rarely missed a game. He's been the heart of that defense.
If there was guys, I would say him. I would do him over Leonard Williams. I would do him over.
Well, Leonard Williams is looking to restructure or release.
Why? Because he wants
That's
more.
what they're looking at. The money he's making already based off the deal the Jets signed him on. Is they're like, what are you really giving us? We want to keep Dexy. You're gonna either have to restructure or we're gonna get rid of you. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's not a Giant next year.
Yeah.
It's all dependent on how much he wants to be a part of that franchise.
And what McKinney's gonna have to be extended. Not. I think next year he's eligible for the extension, and we know Giant history, don't pay or safeties. So.
Yeah, I know. Well, the Landon Collins thing.
So
I think.
But I think he would be the one you should probably pay.
His ball skills are quite literally next level.
Ojulari too.
But I don't think Ojulari.
I wouldn't pay him.
Is gonna get paid like that.
I wouldn't pay him because he's not healthy.
Injury prone. Like he wasn't healthy almost the entirety of the season. You look at it and he missed time with his quad, and then he's missing time with his knee, then he's missing time with his quad again. Like he came back. He came back in the playoffs, played the Minnesota game, left, then barely played the Eagles game.
I'm pretty sure I never saw him out there.
I'm pretty sure he walked out there for a snap or two and then came back off and couldn't play the rest of the game. So you're looking at that and you're like, in crunch time, where are you at?
Yeah.
When you're out there, you're productive. When you're healthy, you're productive. But you're not out there that much. So how much money can we really give you? That's going to be one that they might leave. The reports were that the Giants were going to try to get BJ, his brother, in the second round and try to bring him in and match them two together.
And don't forget, too, Andrew Thomas.
Oh, Andrew Thomas.
He's going to
get a bag.
He's going to get a bag.
He's an all-pro tackle.
And because, this is his third year coming up? Or
It's about to be year 4. It's about to be year 4.
Let's say 4,
because
right?
His rookie year, he was bad.
Rookie year
his
was
second year, he was
right?
all-pro. Last year, he was really good. And then this is about to be his 4th. They're gonna pick up the 5th year.
He's eligible to get the
5th
extension
year.
too.
So he's gonna get the 5th year. They're gonna pick it up.
He's gonna get a bag
There's
too.
No, but then you're paying him, the average of the top 10s of the tackles, and I know tackles, that's bag.
Yeah.
That you're already paying him just on a 5th year option, and then you're gonna have to sign him hopefully on a long-term deal.
Yeah.
Evan Neal, obviously.
Yeah, well,
Evan Neal was Evan Neal.
Well, I mean, with him and Thibodeau, you don't. I think they'll pretty much be covered over the Jones contract.
Yeah.
And
then you got to worry about them.
Yeah, and then you can worry about them, and I think you'll be fine.
All right.
Other than that, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's definitely a contract that's getting some heat from some people, and I see a lot of Giants fans definitely coming to the defense, and they have every right to come to their quarterback's defense, especially if they like him.
The 3-year out for me is where I think they made a very good choice.
Yeah.
In giving them the ability to pay him that big 1-year, 3rd year, and not have to pay him that huge 4th year.
Yeah.
You cut him, you take the $9 million in dead cap, and you walk away going, you gave us decent production, you helped us be around the playoff hit. If you're not performing the way we expect you to take a jump, now you're getting paid, you got to take a jump. Are you going to be Kenny Galladay and fail?
Yeah.
Or are you going to take the money, put the work in, and show us that you deserve to be paid this money?
Yeah. I think that's good on their part, but with every year, it's contracts like this, and God forbid, imagine they give Saquon what he wants.
It's gonna be hard
it'll
to keep talent around.
Cap will go like that. It goes like that,
Cap goes like that, and the Giants do have a lot of places where they need talent.
Yes.
Cornerback, interior offensive line.
You need another safety.
Yep.
I'd say linebackers, interior line, wide receivers.
Absolutely. I think you're going to draft a first-round receiver. I think that's almost a guarantee.
Could be another Kadarius Toney. That's what you got to worry about.
Well, I pray to the heavens that doesn't happen.
But no, it's going to be interesting. I could go on about the Eagles for probably the next hour because we didn't do anything with the tag, but historically the Eagles never do anything. The last time they tagged somebody was Deshaun Jackson back, I think, 2012. So,
but I think it's pretty obvious you guys should have taken CGJ.
I thought we were gonna do it, but the sentiment from the fan base is they're scared, and then the other half is like, "Oh, let Howie cook," and that's true. I'm worried because I thought he performed well enough. I don't think he's ever going to be an elite safety.
No.
But he definitely played well as a safety.
Solid.
I would bring him back and let Reed Blankenship play the other, or you could draft somebody. Honestly, Reed Blankenship, I gave him a lot of shit because every time he came in, I was looking for every reason for him to play bad, but he played all right.
I know you guys can't see this, but I gave him the most wild look when he said Reed Blankenship played the other side. That man is hot garbage. In my opinion.
But if you actually watch Eagles games, and I don't know how often you actually watch, but for me, up front and close, he played perfectly fine while C.J. Gardner-Johnson was out with the punctured, what was it, punctured lung or kidney or whatever it was. When he was out, he actually played decent. Trust me, I looked for every reason to call him out, and I found myself not calling him out. I was calling guys like Marcus Epps out. You know? But I think, I don't know. I have faith that Howie's gonna bring him back. But there's also some guys you can draft, or maybe he just wants too much, and the number he wants is just above what you're gonna give him, and let somebody go pay him like a Ravens who pays Marcus Williams, or the Saints paying Marcus May, If you're and if that's the case, then I respect it. But we'll see what's gonna happen with them. I mean, we all knew that we have to get the cap space open, so that has to happen obviously before we do all these crazy moves. And I think we'll see this upcoming week Howie restructure a bunch of contracts. Guys like Lane Johnson, who pretty much gets restructured every year. And Darius Slay's one of them up there to get restructured. I'm sure a couple other guys on the defense are going to... And that's fine, but we had to do that first before anything happens. But
Darius Slay has shown himself to be able to play in Philly.
Speaking of that, I don't even want to talk about this. There was the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen. The dumbest thing I think I've ever seen in life. A report: Matt Patricia could join the Eagles defensive staff as the linebacker coach. First of all, why?
Who's getting their throat slit first, Darius Slay or Matt Patricia?
Exactly. Why in fuck's name would you bring him in when Darius Slay does not like him?
Hates him.
He's pretty much your captain out there on defense. You don't bring him in. Matt Patricia, no. Let him go back to Bill Belichick. Let's just no.
Give him a reason not to want to restructure.
Just no. Just no. No Matt Patricia. No. Sean, I'm looking at you. Don't fucking think about it. But yeah, the Eagles news, there's not much other than that. We'll see what happens. And I mean, once the new league year starts, I won't have anything much to say on the Eagles, because I don't have to talk about Hurts. They don't have to extend him today. They can wait till after June to do it. So we'll the Eagles talk from me is light this week. I don't have that much to say. I know you want to talk about this, so
yep.
So let So this is from FanDuel. This tweet comes from FanDuel. So obviously, take that for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Top NFC quarterbacks. We'll start from worst to first, and this is all based on if Aaron Rodgers is not in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
So number 16, Kyle Trask.
That's almost a guarantee.
Number 15, Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, he leaves something to be desired.
Number 14, PJ Walker.
I disagree with that.
Why, you think he's better?
Based on this list.
Yeah, I agree. He should probably be just one spot higher.
I think you go top down here. Because us talking backwards, I'm saying PJ Walker, but we don't know who's in front of him.
Well, then I'll tell you who's next. Sam Howell.
Okay. He's in front of Sam Howell.
Yeah, exactly.
PJ Walker's in front of Sam Howell.
I think where 13 is where he probably should be.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think
he jumps. I think he jumps one.
After all this,
questionably two. I think there's an argument to be made about Jordan Love. Jordan Love's at 12. I think there's a question mark there of saying Jordan Love has showed you less than PJ Walker has because PJ Walker has inherently played in more games.
And he's also, I don't even think he was ever drafted.
No, PJ Walker was...
Shout out Temple, by the way.
Yeah, shout out Temple. PJ Walker was an undrafted free agent.
And he's played okay at times, but he's also just flashes. Not good.
He's got arm strength, but his accuracy is terrible. I wouldn't even say questionable. It's terrible. But
I love
he had that
who's
bomb.
Next.
He had that bomb to DJ Moore.
He did. I love who's next, by the way, because that's how I feel. Granted,
it's fair.
Based off of who's ahead of him, there a couple names I would argue, but 11's Brock Purdy, and I agree 100% because he had a magical run on a really good San Francisco team. Now, what if he takes the reins? And we'll see what happens. If he does it again, then I shut up, and I will never speak a bad word about him again, but he's got to do it again.
I think he gave you enough tape that teams can game plan
exactly
what he's good at and what he's bad at.
And if he pulls like a Jalen Hurts where
makes a big jump,
teams have tape on you and you just flat out beat them now. It's a good ranking, and if he's higher next year, then I'll shut up because obviously he earned it. Number 10 is Justin Fields.
I disagree. I think his rushing ability puts him a little higher.
He should be where number 6 is, and when we get to number 6, it'll make sense.
I think he should be at number 7, but number 6 should not be anywhere near where number 6 is. You get what I'm saying? I think number 7 should jump to number 6.
My long pause is because I'm looking at number 7, and I don't think number 7 should ever be higher.
I think based on production.
I truly don't think he is
personally
that good, but we'll get to that one.
We'll get to that.
Number 9 is Jared Goff. I honestly would put him 8 based on this list. And number 8 is Derek Carr. I would put number 9 because
I'd put him number 10.
I mean that's all. I could see that because
I think Justin Fields is above him, and I think Jared Goff's above him.
He's to me like Derek Carr. He on a really good team, he can get you in the playoffs. If he was the Giants quarterback, he can get you 10 wins. Mm-hmm. But is he a guy that's going to win you a Super Bowl? No. Mm-hmm. To me, no. He had Devontae Adams, and look what just happened this past year. No. He has Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs.
The Saints signing him was saying, okay, we're going to barely make the playoffs the next 4 years. And we're cool with that. That's fine.
It is a risk, and it is a big risk.
It's a big risk, but I think a medium reward. I think it's a giant risk, medium reward. I don't see why you make it, but okay.
I'd agree.
Fair.
Number 7. So this is the big one. Kirk Cousins, who I think isn't worse than Jared Goff, but he's right there with Derek Carr because
I'd put him on par with Jared Goff.
I would rank Goff over him because Goff had less to work with.
Quite possibly.
And
I'm on Raza, dog, but it's no.
And they got rid of T.J. Hawkinson, and Goff got better.
Yeah, somehow.
Somehow. And Cousins got T.J. Hawkinson, had a absolutely lethal offense.
I will say
And
they
they choked down the stretch. Like, they didn't look good. They looked exposed. Is Kirk Cousins better than everyone other than Brock Purdy after him? If we were to put him behind Goff, so that would probably slide him to 8, 9. Yeah.
But
maybe.
I'm looking at this list, and I think 6 is at 9.
Yeah.
So, you inherently you put him up, but then you drop him under Goff. You're putting him at 7 again. And then he maybe questionably 8, because I would think Justin Fields, with the rushing ability, can create more and play make more. And make more out of nothing than a Kirk Cousins can give you. Kirk Cousins is going to give you what's in front of him, and nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah. You're guaranteed 30-something touchdowns, 10 or so picks, 4,000 yards, but 9-7, 9 and 8 now, 10-7, 11-6. Like you're always gonna get that.
You're
nothing
banking
in the
on the defense to get you a better record.
But number 6 is Kyler Murray, and that's too high to me.
Way too high. I have him at 9. Truly, I think Kyler Murray's an extremely overrated quarterback.
He hasn't done anything.
He hasn't done anything, and then
has not.
All he's done is played in the stereotypes. They go, oh, when Call of Duty drops, his stats drop, and he goes, oh, they go, oh, people go, oh no, what happened? Call of Duty happened, and his stats dropped, and then he got hurt, and then.
It is funny how the Call of Duty curse is really on him.
Oh well,
But no, he is, I think, extremely overrated. Yeah, does he have his moments where he does some good stuff? Sure, but they've squandered it. Like what were they? They were like 11-0 last year or something, and they choked it all away or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's just hilarious, and the fact that his contract extension had the mandatory film hours is the funniest thing to me. Okay. And the only reason they removed it, which first of all, why did they even leak that?
Yeah.
The fact that they removed it from all the public backlash is just hilarious. The whole situation.
It shows exactly what you need to see.
And the fact that he had all this power and all this, it's just...
ridiculous.
Remember that thing where he wanted to call plays, so they let him call plays, and it looked like a shit?
Terrible, yeah. I think crunch time decision making is terrible.
All he does is drop back, run around, and just wait till someone gets open.
Yeah.
So yes, that's way too high.
Yeah, way too high.
And then the rest of this,
I disagree with the rest of this list.
I don't agree with number 2, but I agree with the next 3 though.
I don't.
But in sequential order, if you just bump them up one, I would agree with it for the most part, and I'll tell you why. But number 5 is Geno.
I disagree with what you're saying too, but it's a narrow disagreement.
Number 5 is Geno Smith, who absolutely had a great year. He earned all of his money. We're going to talk about him right after this. Earned his money.
I think you bump him up 1.
Geno,
because number 2 should be down.
Yeah, number 2 should be down, exactly.
But you bump him up 1. I like him there. I like him at the 4 spot.
Yeah.
Geno went out there and did
on a team that was expected to do nothing.
I think he went out there and
showed you what he could have been on.
He showed you what
he could have been on a better franchise earlier in his career.
And he showed you, hey, I'm not done yet. Everyone down and counted me out. No one expected shit from me. I'm going to show you that I'm a pretty good quarterback.
Oh, I love it,
given
dude.
Weapons. I love it too.
If there was a jersey I would get that's a non-Eagles jersey, he'd be one of them because I've rooted dude. I remember he was just a laughing stock, dude, and then he gets punched by his own teammate, and then he's done with the Jets, and now he's a Giants backup quarterback, and we're laughing at that. And then obviously Ben McAdoo pulled his stunt and put him in for one game over Eli Manning to break the streak, and he's kind of gone through it all. And to go out and ball out on a team that was expected to do absolutely nothing, he earned it all.
You gotta
love
be
it.
Happy for the
It's
guy.
a great story. Comeback player of the year. You love to see it. And
absolutely.
Number 4 is Daniel Jones. I don't think he's above number 3.
I think he's number 2.
The reason why I think he's below number 3 is the passing ability. And let's be real, if we put up just numbers,
I think you look at
maybe not this year.
I think you look at
because
turnovers this year.
I think the turnovers this year help your argument, but I think overall, number 3 is Dak Prescott, who puts up, I've been saying this for years, garbage time Dak puts up numbers
in garbage
when
time.
the game means nothing.
But when the game means something, he's throwing it to the other team.
But they also have won a lot of games the past couple years. So, you know, I do, and I'm not going to say it's like, it's far. Like, the gap is far. I'm not going to say that. Like, I think it is close. Like, if Daniel Jones has another good year and Dak has a year like he just had, I absolutely would rank him above him.
I think Dallas made the playoffs on the back of that defense this year. And it was in spite of Dak. It wasn't because Dak helped. It was in spite of Dak.
No, I would agree with that. But I think ultimately, though, he just does put up numbers, you know? So I think that ultimately keeps him ahead for right now. In a year, we'll see. Number 2, I don't agree with whatsoever because he sucked when he was healthy. Yeah. Matt Stafford.
I think Matt Stafford's 5, maybe 6.
I think he's below that. I think he's cooked.
I think
the Rams sold their soul for a title. They got it. Now, he was never that great with Detroit, and people seem to like neglect that last season, not this past season. People seem to kind of neglect, like, and I get we could say what we want about Detroit those years, like they weren't a great team, great franchise, but he always threw the bad turnovers. He always had the bad interceptions.
Everyone looks at his days in Detroit and goes, well, the defense didn't help him. The defense didn't help him. The defense didn't help him. He had to throw for 5,000 yards a year just to stay competitive and stuff like that. But now you're looking at it and you go, you have the Rams defense, and you went out and you won the Super Bowl year 1. That's basically what you were brought in there to do.
And he did, and I like, if this was last year's list, I would say he's number 2.
Yeah,
like, absolutely.
But then you look at this year and you go, you still had a pretty good defense, and you didn't do shit.
He sucked. I mean,
you were flat out just bad.
He was the biggest disappointment on my fantasy football team.
He had me this year questioning, why didn't he just steal the Rams' money and retire after the Super Bowl?
I know, I don't understand. Like, that's what he really should have done.
It's what he should have done, but you can't because you signed
and like
a multi-year
the argument's
deal.
Gonna be, well, the offensive line wasn't that great this year. Blah blah blah. It don't matter. It was the same Matthew Stafford we saw in Detroit, and it showed.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I don't agree with that whatsoever. But other than that, Jalen Hurts is number 1, and I can't disagree with that. So I don't know your thoughts on that, but Jalen Hurts to me should be the number 1 quarterback, and I think that's not even a question.
That's not even a question. No, you can't question that after the year he had this year. I've been a big Jalen Hurts hater. I'm an Eagles hater as a Giants fan, and I said I won't believe anything till he shows me that he can throw the deep ball with accuracy. And I think this year he took a step, and it took me to about week 5 or so to admit it to myself and to the people around me, because coming from South Jersey, I'm around nothing but Eagles fans. And I look at it and I go, you know what? He really did work on it. Because he came out and he was throwing bombs into double coverage and beating double coverage.
I think he had, like, statistically one of the best deep balls out of all quarterbacks this year.
Oh, yeah. And I would believe that.
Yeah.
Because he did throw balls in the double coverage where only the receiver could get it. But he knows what his receivers are. He knows when you have A.J. Brown, you can throw a ball up into good single coverage or decent double coverage, and your guy's going to go get it, but you know where to put the ball. You clearly worked with these guys.
Somebody said this. A.J. Brown had all these great catches, but Devontae Smith had
really
the better catches like a lot of the times. He was making the sideline catches that were just absurd.
That just shows the chemistry.
that he's got 2 wide receivers that he trusts, and we have it for at least the next 3 years.
Unless
so
you guys don't sign Jalen Hurts.
That's happening. Jeffrey Lurie is
Back
giving him
out
the
the
bag.
books.
And the best part, I will hold this to the day I die. All I proclaimed for the past 2 years was let the kid, like last season, let the kid play. You use the second round pick. Just let him play. See what you got.
Yeah.
This year coming up, let him do it again. A better team. If he flops out this year, then fine. You can argue about the quarterback. But let him do it again. And he did it. And he shut everybody up. And it's just the growth of him is what I think the Bears bank on with Justin Fields. I think is what ultimately the Cardinals think they're getting with Kyler Murray.
They're not.
And whatever the teams, whoever ends up drafting Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, and C.J. Stroud, that's what they're going to look directly at Jalen Hurts. Not necessarily because they're at where they were when he was drafted, because obviously they're better prospects than he was at the time. Yeah. But teams are going to look at that type of development path, you know?
And for me personally, just a little draft tidbit, if you're going to draft Will Levis, look at Sam Howell, because that's what you're getting.
Look at Paxton Lynch.
Yeah.
Look at Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Look at all these guys that are terrible, and that's
Kyle
what you're gonna
Trask.
get. That's what you're going to get.
Not that he was a first-round pick, but
I just think
Desmond Ridder.
You're drafting Will Levis, and you're getting third, fourth round talent at best, and you're going to use a first-round pick to get it. And you know what?
Potentially a top pick.
The Panthers are going to do it.
Oh, he's got Carolina written on his resume. He's got Carolina written in his tombstone. He's got Carolina written in his blood.
He might as well buy a house because
he probably has a Carolina phone number.
Yeah, you're gonna draft this kid. We all know you're gonna probably do it, and he's gonna be mediocre like every quarterback outside of Cam Newton for 2 or 3 years.
I hope he wears like a cocky number too.
Well, he's gonna wear number 1, and
I hope so.
So bad.
He's definitely not gonna be number 1.
The fans are gonna rip it off him. Someone's gonna run on the field and rip the number 1 off him.
I know.
Please just leave.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold.
You're just.
But I do think like, and this might be because I believe slightly in Sam Darnold. I think when he's like 29, he might have the Geno Smith path.
Yeah.
Where he puts it all together on a good team.
On a good team, yeah.
Because let's be real, Carolina is
not it.
No.
Yeah, DJ Moore, but what else you have?
An okay defense.
Devonta Foreman played good this year, and they're trying to bring him back.
He did. He balled in fantasy, dude. I picked him up early, and
I liked him out of Texas.
Yeah, he how long was he with the Texans?
Few years.
What to say? It's kind of older, right?
Yeah.
But my thing is,
4 years.
He looks like he's got Mike Davis written all over him, who had the 1 year
shows
and
that
then
flash in the pan, and then some team signs him, and then
done.
like nothing. Yeah.
But that
I believed in Mike Davis too. I really did. I had him on
I don't think a lot of people believed in him,
and he looked like a dog. And I was like, "Oh, this kid's gonna be good." He went to Atlanta, right?
Yeah, and he
just flopped.
And like to be fair, they did have Cordero Patterson, who became this like great running back, pass catching,
because he was a wide receiver coming out of college. You know, but yeah, now that list from FanDuel has a lot of discrepancies, but you can't really debate number 1.
Yeah, and I mean we touched on Geno's contract. We didn't even touch on Derek Carr's like the overall numbers, but he got 4 years, $150, and that's for a bottom tier quarterback.
Yeah.
And
you're saying the playoffs, and we're happy.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to touch on the Saints too much.
No.
Let's be real.
They got some talent, but
they have some talent.
Their
if Kamara gets suspended, it's probably over on that standpoint.
Yep.
Michael Thomas,
never gonna be the player he was.
Slot God.
Yeah, slot God. Right.
Or slant God, or whatever,
slant
whatever
God,
it is.
He's a short route man, but good hands.
Yeah,
I just don't think with all the injuries after he had that the career year, the record breaking year where he had 206, 208 catches or whatever. He had that year.
I'm looking at 2 comments. One, it says, "Damn, what a trash conference." As NFC team fans, I'm okay with that. Let them all go to the AFC and duke it out. The other one, 2 are at the number 1 slot.
Oh God! Jesus.
Do you know what?
Do you know where the Dolphins play?
Do you know
what conference
what
the Dolphins
team?
play?
But I would like to see the AFC list. Like, I know there's probably not an AFC list, but I would like to see what FanDuel is putting out there about the AFC because, honestly, that would be interesting because they do have a lot of good quarterbacks out there.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
And maybe, you know what, maybe
you know Pat Mahomes is number one, but, yeah.
I think next week, you know what? Next week we'll dedicate it. We'll dedicate some time. We'll rank the AFC quarterbacks.
Oh, we'll do our own ranks.
Yeah, we'll do our own ranks. And
me and you will do individual ranks and compare.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that because I don't think we really ever touch on the AFC other than just the big names because obviously we're Eagles and Giants fans, but I think we'll dedicate some time to that.
Yep.
Well, I guess we'll dedicate a little bit of time right now. There is some Lamar Jackson news. Obviously, he got his non-exclusive tag, and man, the
team started backing down.
The Ravens, though, man, I feel bad for him. I don't think he truly ever wants to leave. I think he wants to be a Raven, and
the Ravens front office needs to wake up and get him something outside of Mark Andrews.
Yeah,
because like Devin Duvernay,
you can't rely on
Rashad Bateman,
J.K. Dobbins.
They're not going to be guys. J.K. Dobbins
with the health
needs to stay healthy, but do you think he can?
How many running backs do they go through a year?
Well, but that's what they do. They stack the running game. They have Lamar, and you go, okay, we have three backs that can do stuff. When they had Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, and Mark Ingram was, I think, the third. When it was J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards,
like in Ingram.
Not this past year, but the year
before, yeah.
And like
this year was what? Kenyon Drake, Gus Edwards, Dobbins. Who else did they have?
They had another kid. I can't remember his name.
But yeah, like I get it. They do stack that.
They stack the running game because that's their bread and butter.
You gotta get him weapons because especially after him getting hurt, like you can't risk that happening again.
Especially like if your best pass catcher is your tight end, what you're doing is saying we're gonna short pass, and we're gonna run. You gotta have somebody that takes the top off, and I just don't think at an elite level, Devin Duvernay or
Rashad
Bateman is gonna be that guy.
No, they definitely have fumbled that there, and honestly, that'll be a big watch for DeAndre Hopkins if he really is on, whether he's gets traded, released, whatever.
They say the asking price for the trade is a second-round pick.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, you're taking on the contract, but.
I would take it on just to give you a chance in that
Lamar
conference.
with DeAndre Hopkins, Mark Andrews, and hopefully a healthy J.K. Dobbins, or even just a healthy Gus Edwards. I think that could be a good team.
Yeah. I mean, look at what Jacksonville did. They got Calvin Ridley, who's finally reinstated. Which people are split on this, right? About his suspension, but he's back, right? For I think like it's dumb he didn't bet against his own team and he was out. So, but they got Trevor Lawrence weapons, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne. You know, like they got him weapons, and now Jacksonville can
make some noise.
Make noise in that division.
Make noise in the AFC, which is stacked.
In that division.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, like, they are... And the Ravens truly just don't give... It's basically saying, Lamar, you go do it all. That's not going to work.
They said, you go do it all. Oh, you want help? No. Go do it all.
Because you know what happens? He gets hurt.
Figure it out. He's one serious knee injury away from being hobbled and not being able to be as elite of a runner.
Yeah. Because then he's going to have to learn how to be a pocket or an RG3 where it's just not going to work.
It's not going to work.
And it's going to be interesting to see that. Derrick Henry's also on the trade block.
That's incredible.
Eagles fans are already.
Yeah.
They're jumping
I understand the Titans throwing him up there. And, you know, I could see the Bills trying to put a bag together and try to figure it out.
If he went to the Bills, that would be crazy.
Because you add him to the Bills, and I think that's a Super Bowl team. And
I would
you
say
put
so.
You put
They're
Derrick
already
Henry,
a Super Bowl team in my eyes.
You put Derrick Henry behind a good offensive line, and you're basically guaranteeing yourself at least 1,300 yards rushing. You know he's not really going to catch the ball much out of the backfield, but that's 1,300 yards rushing. Add that to a Bills team that has Josh Allen, who could take the top off teams with a Stephon Diggs and a Gabriel Davis and a Dawson Knox. That team can make a lot of noise.
Yeah, they really can. And if they were to get him, that would be crazy. If the Eagles were to get him, dude, could you imagine that?
I told you before we started recording, we were talking over some things. I said he might be a 3,000-yard rusher. He goes to the Eagles, like behind an elite offensive line like that. If he's
healthy, dude.
If he's completely
healthy.
But he's
another one that I look at, like he's just one injury away from it. It just
he's one ankle or knee.
Shout out J. Cole, fall off.
Because he's a lot of weight to be carrying around on those joints.
260
So a running back,
pure fucking muscle.
That's a freight train, bro.
I know. You know what the craziest thing that I think the Cowboys fucked up with that draft year, not doubling down
on running back
and getting Henry to be the 1-2 with Zeke. Could you imagine if they had Zeke and Derrick Henry?
Incredible.
Because I think there were rumors saying like he would, like the Cowboys were like interested in drafting him and stuff, and I was scared out of my mind that they were gonna get him, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be something that's gonna run through the NFC for a long time.
I personally don't think we're gonna see another Derrick Henry for at least 8 to 10 years.
Not
a guy
at
that
least
moves
with
like that.
That's like the LeBron,
he
you know, like you don't see somebody that
physically talented
with
and
the
gifted.
physicality like that. Yeah, like not in a bad way, but it's like the freak, like he's the freak athlete. Yeah. There's a couple other points we can touch on before we
wrap it up.
So this came out, 3 teams eyeing Jimmy Garoppolo. And this NFC quarterback list we went over, that didn't even include him.
Yeah.
Raiders, Panthers, and Texans are interested so far. Mm-hmm. Where would you, if those are the teams that are going to be the fits, where do you think he would best fit? I personally would say Texans.
Vegas.
I'd say Texans.
I think Vegas. I think you give him.
I think after what Derek Carr did out there, it would not work whatsoever. If him and Josh McDaniels can't do anything, Jimmy Garoppolo definitely won't be doing anything out there.
See, I think Derek Carr lost confidence.
I know the big sentiment on this post is not the Raiders.
Really?
To me, though, I think they're not including the Buccaneers, and I don't understand why that's like lost in all this. I think the Buccaneers are like the prime spot.
I don't know what it is with the quarterback talk in the NFC, and the Buccaneers not being a part of any of it. Like, you think that they're really super ready and willing to just walk out Kyle Trask and be like, oh no, you have the keys. Godwin, Evans,
I think they're
K.
the
Dotton,
candidate that's gonna move up to
try to get like an Anthony Richardson.
I think
that
would be the guy they would totally get.
They would want
Florida playing at Florida.
You're just gonna stay around. But
that's kind of what they did with Kyle Trask. If you think about it, he played at Florida.
But you're walking out there, and if you walk onto a Tampa Bay team, you have a decent defense. You have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, K. Dotton. I think what's the kid's name? The running back.
Rashad White.
Rashad White. There's talk that they might draft a running back.
They could.
They're in the thing. See it. They're in the looks for Bijan. That's what the claims are. And Rashad White doubled down and said, "I don't care who you bring in. I'm winning this job regardless." So you got a guy that has confidence that played well last year at running back. If you guys try to draft another running back, cool. But you trade up and you get Anthony Richardson. He has weapons. What's better to develop a young quarterback than to already have weapons on your team?
I'll say this from an Eagles standpoint. They got Jalen Hurts weapons, and look what just happened. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think like a team like that, like they shouldn't be ignored in
absolutely
in all this. And I do think they are truly a prime candidate to go up and move up to get a quarterback. And I don't think it'd be Will Levis. That's for damn sure.
I would hope not.
All right, a couple other things. So, the Cardinals, they're actually open to trading back.
What pick do they have?
3. And I think that plays exactly into what we were just talking about.
Like
they're willing to move that trade back. Mm-hmm. Tampa Bay, gives them an offer, throws a lucrative offer. Obviously, they're going to sacrifice next year in the draft capital.
Absolutely.
And probably this year too, but they have good foundations, so they can kind of get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a prime spot right there, and that builds right off what we were talking about.
100%.
I think you might see one of these, the Commanders, if they don't, the Falcons.
The Falcons could be a nice,
and that
really
wouldn't
nice
even
candidate.
that wouldn't even be a big move up for them. That would just be a couple picks.
Couple picks, you give a little added value. In
Carolina, they can move up. That's again 6 picks. So
I think Carolina's a dead team for the next 2-3 years.
Probably,
regardless of who they get in the draft. I think they're just a dead team.
You know, and it's funny, like we're not even.
DJ Moore wants out so bad.
It's like the NFC is really that dry on quarterbacks, and all these teams we're talking about are NFC quarterbacks. The other thing I wanted to point out was Aaron Rodgers. We didn't even get into that, and I think that's where we'll wrap it up.
Sauce trying to pull him in.
Well, speaking of Sauce, did you see that thing about Pete Carroll? Him and Pete Carroll?
No.
So, Sauce, apparently he said Pete Carroll got too close to him in pre-draft interview, so Pete Carroll literally pulled the receipts out of how far they were. How dumb is this? Literally, how dumb is this?
Social distancing? That's what we're talking about? That's what we're talking about?
I guess.
He said he was up in my personal space. Pete Carroll said, here's 4 pictures of me being at least 6 feet from you. So what are we talking about? It said,
Pete is that man. Yeah. Only one blunder in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, the Marshawn Lynch.
But, and then the other ones, at least we all know that Sauce is a pathological liar and has no credibility. Like, goddamn. What the hell?
I'll give it to him.
And somebody's like, that's what you came up with all that in a 3-picture slide. But no, Aaron Rodgers met with the Jets, and as an Eagles fan, please
go to the AFC.
Go to the AFC. Yeah, get right out of there.
Leave the NFC alone.
Shit, the Giants might be the number 5 seed and be 14-3 next year.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that the NFC is looking weak. But then you look at, as an Eagles and Giants fan, the NFC East outside of Washington. If Washington can get a quarterback,
the top 3 teams are going to probably come out next year again. The NFC that went from the NFC least, like the worst division, to arguably now the most competitive division.
Absolutely.
Aaron Rodgers meets with the Jets. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think he's going to ultimately end up being a Jet?
Honestly, I personally have no read on it whatsoever. Like, I don't know.
I've been saying Jets the second they hired Nathaniel Hackett as their offensive coordinator.
You have been.
And I thought that was always the most likely landing spot for him. And they have a good base. They have good receivers. They got a good young receivers, good young running back. Obviously coming off an injury. They have, a decent line, good defense.
I think it's a big risk.
It's a big risk for the Jets. I mean,
exactly.
You're putting.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is the guy anymore.
I don't think so too. He's still spooky at times. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no, he still has his moments. But I don't think he's consistently.
This was the first time I have ever watched an Eagles game against the Packers and said we can win this game, and I'm not scared about Aaron Rodgers. And sure enough, we took him apart. And I think he really is at the end. Like,
yeah, I think
honestly, I think if he plays next year, he's gonna be out of the league very soon.
Next
he's gonna
candidate for retirement.
Yeah, he's gonna call it quits soon. But let him go. Let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let him get out.
I couldn't even picture a team outside of the Jets that would ultimately want him.
Probably not.
Other than returning to the Packers, and honestly, if he doesn't go to another team, I could see him hanging up.
Hanging up now?
Now.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him for it.
You
made your money.
You can go do his ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And go on more darkness retreats and all, whatever.
Drop magic mushrooms and hang in the woods for the rest
nothing
of your life.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, if that's your vibe, that's your vibe, man.
Nah, you do what you got to do. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting week coming up, because then once the new league year turns over, that's when all the tampering and all that stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go into the deep dive.
You get the guys that are getting cut
That
on
and
cap space.
yep,
And
we'll definitely, I think, have a lot more to talk about in
100%.
terms of that next week. We'll also go into a little, like, our AFC quarterback rankings.
Yeah, 100%.
And maybe we'll finally start some draft talk because we didn't
Yep.
touch the combine this week.
Yeah.
And I honestly wanted to stay away from that just because
The combine is show.
it's a show. It obviously makes a lot of people shoot up and shoot down. We're talking about the kid from LSU who had the horrible combine, but I wanted to sit back on that for a week just to look more into it before we talk into it, because obviously there's a lot of prospects. There's a lot of teams meeting with prospects, so I want to hold off on that so we can kind of get a full dive on that along with AFC quarterback ranking, and we'll talk about.
But you think about combine talk. I personally, before I talk about the combine talk, I want to see pro days.
Yeah,
I want to see if these guys maybe just had a bad day. Maybe this guy went out there and ran a 4.68.
Pro days are what make like Zach Wilson, for example, is a prime example of the pro day. So,
but a guy that had a bad combine could go out there and have a great pro day, and then you go, well, maybe he's just had a bad day that day at the combine.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to see the double sample size, but we'll definitely touch on draft prospects and such like that next week a little bit at least.
Yeah, and AFC quarterback rankings, we'll give a little talk into obviously what happens with like leaks for teams and whatever is going on in the NFL that week. And yeah, we'll pick up next week.
Yes,
Anything
sir.
else you got to say, my guy?
No, Daniel Jones, make your steps, man.
Jalen Hurts.
Put that work in.
Please give us something
Please
comparable
regress.
to Jalen or Daniel Jones contract. Please don't command
Jalen Hurts.
55 plus. Just throw us a nice bone.
You showed him what you needed to show him. Now just sit back and relax, man. Don't put any work in. Don't be throwing the ball.
Oh, he's gonna put the work.
Don't
in.
worry about shit till mandatory minicamp.
Bring back the dreads, please.
But yeah, that's it for us.
That's it for us, the Dead End Boys. Follow,
We'll catch you
like,
guys.
subscribe, favorite, retweet. What else?
The content's gonna start flowing.
What else is social media lingo? Reels, TikTok. Maybe I guess we gotta make a TikTok, huh?
Catch the streams.
Yeah, catch the streams. Catch us on YouTube and leave us any feedback you want. Rate us on Apple Podcasts as well.
Yep.
And we will see you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.